Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show podcast, coming from right here in our quaint little studio. I'm, of course, your host, John Campea. I'm joined in studio today by Ray Ora.
Hey, what's up, everyone?
Jonathan Voico.
They're older hip-hop references, but they check out. Smurfs.
Yeet, yeet. Robert Meyer Burnett is here.
I can't believe I'm working with Ray again. I'm so happy. Just add garlic.
But most importantly, of course, you guys are here. Thank you so much for being here and making our little show part of your day. Here's how today's show is going to go. We're going to start off by talking about a few predetermined topics that we got lined up. Then the second part of the show, we're going to take your live comments and questions. If you have a thought, theory, opinion, or question that you'd like us to address on the show, go ahead and fire it on in right now at www.streamelements.com/JohnCampea/tip. And here's the good news about the tip link. It's actually good 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So even if you're listening to this show a little bit later in the day on our podcast feed, either on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, or if you're watching this video a little bit later in the day when we're not live, you can still send in a question or a topic for us to address. And if you send it in when we're not live, we'll just get around to answering it on the next episode. All right, guys. With that down, let's get into some things here, shall we? And we're going to start off with this. You know, as critical as I am of AMC theaters, and I often am, one of the things, though, that I think they do better than anybody else is their A-list program. The A-list program is insane. You get 3 free movies every week. You get automatic upgrades on your medium sodas or popcorns. You earn points. It's a great deal for about $25 a month, right? Which is less than the cost of going to 2 movies alone, and you can go up to 12 in a month. Well, it's been that way for a long time. And today, an announcement came out, as you can see here in Variety, that AMC Stubs A-List has hiked their monthly fee, but increased their movie visits to 4 per week. Now, basically, what the story is saying is that they have, for the first time in a couple of years, this isn't like streaming where they up it every 6 months practically. It's been a few years since they've upped the price, and they've upped it from about 25 to about 27 and change. Right? So roughly about a $2 increase. But here's when I don't mind a service increasing their prices. You want to increase the price? Give us something more. And they've actually increased by 25% the number of movies you can see per week and per month by upping it from 3 to 4. Now, granted, there's not a lot of people who are maxing out the 12 movies a month. Sure. Ann and I didn't often max out the 12 movies a month, and now it can be 16. But what it also limited you to is to be able to have 3 booked movies at a time. Mm-hmm. And many times, Ann and I would have to cancel one set of tickets to if we wanted to suddenly go see a movie tonight because we always had the 3 already booked. That gets expanded now to 4. So you go from 12 movies a month to 16, up to 3 movies booked at a time to 4, and 4 maximum movies per week for $2 extra. And by the way, I went and just thought, hey, if I wanted to go see Companion today at AMC near me in Riverside, how much would it cost me? A cheap ticket was $15. So it's still, even with the price increase, 2 movies a month, and it already pays for itself. That doesn't even take into consideration your upgrades on your concessions and the points and bonus money you earn and all that kind of stuff. So while I'm very rarely enthusiastic about a price increase, I kind of don't mind it if they're going to increase what you get for it. And for $2, extra reservation slot, 4 extra movies a month, an extra movie a week, it still makes AMC A-List, I think even more so, the best deal for moviegoers in the business. So I kind of like it. And especially, Rob, maybe I'd be thinking differently if they upped the fee every 6 to 8 months or a year, but it's been a while. $2. I kind of actually don't mind it. How do you see this?
Well, you know, it's like the kid in One Crazy Summer. He wants his $2.
He's $2.
So that's... Remember that? People are like, what? But no, I mean, $2, like you just pointed out, what a great deal. And you get 4 movies. I mean, it like you said, it pays for itself, especially, you know, moving into that summer movie season, starting in March, you know, Snow White, the first of those big movies. We know we all want to see Snow White. And, you know, once you've seen that, Come on, man. Hi ho. But I do think moving into the summer movie season, a lot more things to see. A lot more movies are coming out. There's a lot of smaller films that I think deserve an audience, and people might get out and go see those movies now. I think it's a great idea.
Wrong Cusack movie though.
You know,
it was Better Off Dead.
was
was it Better Off? Did
Yeah.
I say One Crazy Summer?
Yeah, different Cusack
it's Better
movie.
Off Dead. I'm sorry. Look, man, I was thinking about Hot Pursuit the other day. There's another John Cusack movie. But no, I think it's a good idea. Yes.
You're also talking about some of the smaller movies.
Yeah.
I know we've had some of our viewers write in and say, you know, one of the big benefits of having A-list is that there are some movies that maybe I wouldn't have gone to see, but I got my A-list, so I can go see it for free, and they've gone to check out. I was actually just talking to somebody who went to go see Companion
Yeah.
because they heard us talk about it on the show.
Yeah.
It's not one they probably would have gone to, but they have A-list.
Oh, it's
and
100%
they just-
Totally.
that. 100% that. Because
Yeah.
it's like I went and saw, which, listen, go see Nickel Boys. It's incredible. But I like something like that. It's like, well, would I have paid $25 to go see, or $23 to see Nickel Boys, or when there was other options? So I saw that. I saw a lot of stuff like that. That, you know, the artisan films, basically how they label it. You know, that I might have just waited to stream.
You know what the other thing they added? They added two other things. If I'm not mistaken, I don't think kids as young as 13 could have their own things now. Now they can. 13 and over, you can get a card, and they've added something really cool. One of the annoying things for me about using A-list is when I go show my ticket and they go, "Oh, ID, please."
I know.
And I get it because they want to make sure people aren't using their A-list and then just screenshotting their code and sending it to a buddy. I get
Sure.
that. But it's always a pain in the ass, especially when you got a line and I'm pulling out my wallet trying to find my ID. Now they're introducing a thing on the app where you can put attach a photo to your app.
Right, which is
And
so.
now you don't have to use the ID. You just hold it up for the ticket taker.
Yep.
And if you don't look like yourself, they might ask for your ID still. But I mean, so they've made a lot of improvements for a $2 raise in the price.
I
So-
frequently don't look like myself. But yes, I mean, it's, but I think it's a great thing all the way around.
All right, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this move? I mean, it's another movie industry price increase, but they actually seem to be giving you more in return for it, unlike we're just raising the prices for the hell of raising the prices. I think it's actually a pretty good deal. Whatever you guys think about it, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? One of the big struggles for movie fans as we move completely into the digital age is the fact that, unlike in the physical media era, if you had an old movie or TV show, you always had it, provided you didn't damage the disc or lose it or something like that, but it was always there, right? The promise of the digital era was once we move into the digital era, everything will be available at your fingertips anytime.
No compression.
But that has not been the case. As certain things disappear, we found out more and more streamers actually remove things off their service because it actually costs them money to have it sitting there on the server, and it's not making them any money, and things disappear, right? Well, Warner Brothers, it looks like, is trying something out. Whereas according to Gizmodo here, Warner Brothers is mysteriously dumping obscure and wonderful movies on YouTube for free, with movies like Waiting for Guffman, True Stories, The Science of Sleep, and the all-time great Jeremy Irons' Dungeons and Dragons.
I want my dragons.
Not to be confused with the much superior Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves that came out a few years ago. And actually, they got a full list here of the movies. So you got the Sean Connery, The Wind and the Lion, Michael Collins. That's a great movie.
Yeah.
I love that.
And I got the full list here too. There's a lot of horrible movies and a lot
yeah.
of great movies.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
It's like there's a trade-off.
Yeah, Jackie Chan's Mr. Nice Guy. It's got
yeah.
like 15, 16 million views.
I love City Heat. Burt
City
Reynolds,
Heat.
Clint Eastwood.
The Adventures of Pluto Nash. I don't think anybody's going to watch
Ryan
that.
Reynolds' Chaos Theory.
Chaos Theory. That's right. Waiting for Guffman. American Ninja 5.
yeah.
Yeah.
I love
I'll be
Waiting for
honest with
Guffman,
you, I
though.
don't remember that one at all. I saw all the American Ninja movies. I don't remember that one at all. Mutiny on the Bounty,
Which is one of the great classics
Yeah, I love
of all
that it's
time.
the Marlon. It's the older
Marlon Brando
yeah.
one. Of course, Dungeons and Dragons, Bonfire of the Vandies, and a bunch more. So they got a bunch on there. Now,
Ghoulies.
I thought this was interesting.
Hot to try.
Oh,
Hot to
God.
Trot is on there
Oh God.
with Bobcat Goldthwait. This is an interesting little experiment Warner Brothers is doing, because they actually just get to, like, we don't want to keep these on our service because, with between royalties and licensing fees and all that kind of stuff, What if we took it off our service and just jumped it onto YouTube? Because I'll tell you what, a lot more people are probably going to watch it on YouTube. I don't know, Pluto Nash. There are going to be people that go, you know what? It's there on YouTube. Click, watch it, generate a little bit of revenue for it. Although YouTube ad revenue isn't a lot, but it's something. And I just wonder, I don't really know what their main motivation is behind this and how the legalities of the licensing and residuals and all that kind of thing would impact if it's like on YouTube and whatever. But if, and I'm speculating here, if something like this could become an option where a media company says, you know what, we don't want to have this movie, TV series on our streaming service anymore. It's costing us more than it's making us. Could it be a viable approach to take those films and drop them on YouTube and say, there they are. They're still available. People can watch them and we'll still actually generate some revenue for it. I kind of hope that happens because then maybe it would open us up to a day where everything that's been on a streaming service will always be available because YouTube hosts it free. I don't know, Rob, I think this is a very interesting move by Warner Brothers. What do you think their motivation is behind it? Do you think this will have any kind of an impact? How do you see it?
Well, I mean, I think I bet they chalk it up to marketing in some way, shape, or form. I mean, I look at this list. The Mission with Robert De Niro, Roland Joffe's The Mission, incredible film.
Yeah.
Peter Weir's The Year of Living Dangerously. There's interesting stuff like William Friedkin's comedy Deal of the Century, which is hard to see, and there's coupled with Pluto Nash. but look, it's nice that these films are available and out in the world. On one hand, I'm torn, John, because I'm like, is this, once again, they're devaluing movies? These movies beyond making money now, so they're old enough that they can put it out there? And are they drawing? Is there an HBO Max or a Max ad in front of all these movies, which could very well be the case?
Yeah, that would actually be a good move.
In which that they are drawing, it becomes marketing, so they can afford to pay some kind of licensing. But I wonder, I mean, some of these movies like Brian De Palma's Bonfire of the Vanities,
yeah.
one of the most notorious films. I was actually at Warner Brothers when they made that movie, and Brian De Palma's film, and the to see it is pretty cool. Like, people, I think there's going to be a whole new audience of people that would never watch this movie at all, but when they see something like Crossing Delancey, which is delightful, and Criterion's putting it out on disc, but it's an interesting move. But on the other hand, it makes people think, well, I shouldn't have to pay for movies. Why do I pay for movies? I can watch them for free.
Well, these are older movies.
They are older movies,
nobody's
but
watching anyway.
That's the thing. They're still really good movies.
I think there's something to be said if a film crosses into like some form of historic value.
Yeah.
That it is then available to the public. I would love to see like some of the old silent films become all available to the public, and through the 30s, even some of those B caper movies and stuff like that, because those are going to get lost.
All that stuff. I totally agree. Kino Lorber, there's a black filmmaker named Oscar Michaud that I knew nothing about. Him. He was basically the Tyler Perry of his day. And they just released a whole box set and a documentary of his work. And I watched the documentary, and the guy made 44 movies. I'd never heard of him. He started making movies in the silent era and moved into the sound era, and they're all black audiences. I had never heard of these movies. And I went to film school.
Was his other alias Roger Corman?
No, but it's an incredible thing. And now suddenly I've got this box set, and literally I just got this last week, and I'm completely fascinated and obsessed by this guy's life. And I had never heard of him. And so suddenly, by bringing up all of this stuff, and I went and looked up on YouTube. There was a trailer for this guy's work. I didn't even know it was there. So to see stuff on YouTube and to be able to go research this stuff, it's amazing to see these old films, because rediscovering this material, I mean, that alone is a value, and to know that people are going to go back and see. I don't know about Pluto Nash, but to see Year of Living Dangerously, what a wonderful movie that stars Sigourney Weaver, Mel Gibson, directed by Peter Weir. Linda Hunt had her first big breakthrough role. When was the last time people even thought about that movie?
It's been a while.
Do you think that Warner is hoping people just click, like, usually when I'm on YouTube, I'll find these new YouTubers, and I'll just click. Hopefully, like they'll get some traffic through
Something in their
that. What's their goal? What's their end goal here? Just like
I mean, that's the question. What is their end goal?
to expose, like not expose, but to show these classics and like hopefully people love them, or is it the view counts? Is it the?
It might just be as an alternative to not just deleting them,
Right.
You know, or just not just removing them from their service.
I see.
Now, by the way, I've seen some people in the live chat asking, does this mean they can put the Batgirl movie out there or Coyote versus Acme? No.
No.
Because they already claimed all the losses on those movies in their taxes. And so, no, you're still never good. Those movies will still never see the light of day.
And there's a lot of studio movies. Like there's a great comedy I used to love called Private Benjamin. That stars Goldie Hawn.
Yeah, Goldie Hawn.
And
didn't they also then turn that into a TV show like in the 90s or something?
Yeah, it was
I think they
short-lived,
did, yeah.
but it's hard to get. It was on HBO for a while on Max. The transfer was terrible. They hadn't remastered it. And now they're remastering it, and it's going to come out on physical media, but I could see that movie winding up here on YouTube. A lot of people haven't seen that film. Terrific, wonderful comedy that basically has fallen out of pop culture zeitgeist entirely.
Yeah. Now, look, it needs to be mentioned here. We don't know that they're going to do anything more than other with the movies they put out there, and we're only speculating that this is like a test thing for them to see if it turns out. But I think there's a lot of upside if it does work out for everybody. Anyway, guys, question is
100%.
for you. What do you think about this? Are you going to go over to YouTube and check out some of these titles they put on there? Do you think Warner Brothers is actually testing out maybe what could be a broader plan later on? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? It's been a great week for trailers. We had Fantastic Four. We had Jurassic World Rebirth. And now, granddaddy of them all, the Smurfs. I remember 2 years ago at CinemaCon, they proudly brought out Rihanna. She was very pregnant at the time, glowed, absolutely glowed. But they brought out Rihanna to talk about the fact that she was doing this Smurfs movie with them. And then yesterday they dropped the teaser for the teaser.
So good.
And listen, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm a sucker for the Smurfs. I grew up like everybody else. I grew up watching some Smurfs. And, you know, even that one where Hank Azaria played Gargamel.
All right.
I didn't even hate those. I didn't. I found some cuteness in them and some charm. So it was with some interest that I decided to click on the old Smurfs trailer and watch it. It is one of the most egregious pieces of shit I've ever seen. Yeah. What the holy hell were they thinking? This looks awful. This is truly one of the worst trailers I have ever seen in my life. Influencer Smurf, what the fuck are you doing?
Come on, man.
Papa Smurf spinning the record?
We're staying relevant.
We're staying relevant. And whose bright idea, and I remember I asked this at CinemaCon, who thinks there are 12 and 13-year-olds out there going, well, now I really want to see the Smurfs because Rihanna does one of the voices.
Well, you know, yeah.
They don't know who Rihanna is. And like 20-year-olds, yes. I watched it. But the one thing I did like was like Nick Offerman is the voice of Papa Smurf's brother. Yeah. I'll give it its flowers. That was kind of fun hearing Ron Swanson as Papa Smurf's brother. That was pretty good. This sucked a bag of shit. Not some shit, a bag of it. It was. I'm watching this. I'm thinking this isn't real. Like this is a joke. Like in 24 hours they're gonna put out. We got you guys. Here's the real trailer for the Smurfs. And listen, I'm somebody. I know this movie isn't exactly targeting me. I get that, but there are lots of movies that are absolutely not targeting me, and they can put out really good trailers. Rob, what are they doing? Influencer Smurf, Rob. Influencer Smurf. Anyway, you saw the trailer. What did you think about it?
Bruh. I'm watching this and I'm thinking to myself, we've had such great, like the Lord of the Rings, we've had such great fantasy, and they've done a good job over the years of creating Smurfs as being timeless in a way.
Yeah.
Like these timeless characters. First of all, the movie's already dated with all this pop culture, these pop culture references. Now here's the thing that maybe I'm not up on my Smurf lore, John, but is now the word Smurf just interchangeable anytime you need to use it? Like,
always kind of has been.
So
Yeah.
if I want to go like, Smurf you.
Yes.
I'll Smurf you.
Or why don't you just Smurf off?
Yes.
Or Felder Smurf.
That would be a legitimate usage, even going back to the original cartoons.
Take your Smurf and Smurf it.
Okay, well, I was so tired of
off.
that by the end of this trailer. Like, how many times are they going to use this same idea? It isn't clever. They didn't use. I mean, if that's the key, if that's a key to the Smurf lore, use it in a clever way.
But then you don't have to come up with words to write.
And here's another thing. I know you don't have to write. Just add Smurf to half the dialogue. But then here's the thing. This is the thing that actually made me laugh out loud. So in the trailer, we see that they go to Paris, and like one of the Smurfs looks at the Eiffel Tower and whatever and goes, "Oh, it's Paris."
Yeah,
Yeah,
this isn't
it's
their
Smurf.
world. How do they know it's Paris?
I'm like,
It was Smurfette, and I told Ray, I'm like, how does she know they're in Paris?
that's what I'm thinking. If you're the Smurfs and you're Smurfette or whatever, and you can go to Paris, why don't you live in Paris?
Well, there is a
Why
Smurf
do you-
resistance.
Why
so-
don't you live in Smurfland?
Smurf resistance.
I mean, I move on to some park in Paris. Why live in Smurf Town where you can go? And do they know
Because
all
every
the
day's
cities?
a party in Smurf Town, man. We got DJ, Smurf.
Yeah, that's
Smurf
right. And now we got it's just that just made me laugh out loud.
just past expiration
Oh.
dates on hip hop references that are quote unquote considered safe for the audiences.
Whoa.
To pander, I mean, I told Ray that's what's going to be in this thing, right? And I
Yeet,
turned it on.
yeet, yeet.
Sure enough,
I mean, are they
It
going
is
to
the
have?
Madam Web of Smurf movies.
I want to see the Kendrick Lamar Drake, beef brought into this. I mean, I want to see that happen. Come on. I mean,
Oh, man.
it's Paris. That's just maybe that might be the funniest thing of 2025 so far to
Maybe
me.
they'll
I
drop,
couldn't
like,
stop laughing at
some
that.
not like
And I
that
had to
or
watch this trailer because you said it was a topic on
Somebody
the show.
said, "Where's Diddy Smurf?"
Oh my God. Do it.
He's got a club.
He's got his
They
own-
found 1,000 bottles of Smurf in his house.
What? Just Diddy Smurf. Yeah. I listen. You know what? Correct me if somebody look this up to double check it for sure. I think this is from Paramount.
It is.
And
It is.
what it really breaks my heart because Paramount has been crushing it with a number of things lately.
Yeah.
Like their Transformers movie, Transformers 1 was awesome. I didn't have any faith in that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie. Loved it. I mean, they have just really been doing really well, and I like that studio a lot. But so it was with some optimism. I mean, I knew I wasn't going to love this trailer no matter what, but it was with some optimism that I clicked on this. And the whole time I'm just like, they didn't just say that. And as soon as I said that, they said something worse. I'm like, oh my God, who wrote this? It might have been the writers from Morbius and Madam Web. I don't know. I was like, and with all their other culture, I was waiting for one of the Smurfs to go, "What's up?" or something like that.
That's the thing.
Like,
it's like a decade and a half past its expiration date.
yes.
Well, I can say there is one good thing that I can say about
Yeah.
the
Let's say
Smurfs.
one good thing.
Okay.
The one good thing is it looks infinitely better than Section 31 was.
I'm not
the
even
Dent
sure
Studio.
that's true. I'm not. I'm gonna put you on the spot there, Rob. I'm not even sure that that's
There
true.
was a trailer much like this. I was trying to get Ray's like memory in on this, but he couldn't remember. Like it was the same thing. It was the same idea, just these references that didn't appeal to anybody, and we were like, "What the hell was that trailer?" It's got to be the same creators.
So can we claim this as 2025's worst trailer so far?
I feel very comfortable. Now, again, listen, just to remind everybody, we are just talking about the trailer.
Yeah.
I've
Right.
seen trailers that I've hated and then watched the movies and go, wow, that was actually really good. Maybe the movie's going to, I'm not crapping on the movie because I haven't seen the movie. We're
Right.
simply talking about the trailer. But yes, Ray, as an answer to your inquiry, yes, I feel very comfortable saying that this is, in this very young year, the worst trailer of 2025. What
not
trailer
good.
house made this? This is awful. Like, who put this piece of marketing together and said, yeah, that's going to put butts in the seat?
And they did remix that Belinda Carlisle song in it too?
I
don't
can't
know.
even remember.
Heaven is a Place on Earth.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
So that they had that. That's the only thing.
Another great modern reference. A song that all the kids today know.
yeah.
Like, oh, Mom, take me to see that. And like, but yeah,
They
but,
got the beat too. Come on.
but they got Gargamel's brother in it? What?
Schmargamel.
Oh, animation.
What,
Okay,
what was the name? Balthazar or
Yeah, Balthazar.
Gargamel? I can't remember what it is.
Gargamel.
I mean, Gargamel's brother's name.
Yeah.
I don't listen. Here's hoping the movie's good. I cheer for Paramount. I like
coming
that
for
studio. They've
Influencer.
put out some really great stuff lately.
Yeah.
I just don't know what to say. This is truly one of
Whatever
the
you want to
most
say, just add the word Smurf to
Smurf.
it, and
Yeah.
it'll sound funny.
This trailer
Exactly.
smurfed.
Okay.
Take that for what you will. Anyway, guys, now watch this. Somebody at Paramount's going to put that on their. John Campea says,
This trailer Smurfs.
Smurfs trailers, Smurfs. And then you put whatever you want. Anyway, guys, question is for you. I'm sure this segment is going to get demonetized. What did you think about the trailer for Smurfs? Listen, art is subjective. Maybe you watched it and then maybe it got you in the right places. Maybe you liked it. Maybe it tickled your Smurf and you were like all excited to see it. And that's legit. I wasn't me. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know
Now,
your thoughts.
is that
Oh
going to
my-
be free on YouTube?
Probably, if they're smart.
A lot sooner than you might think.
All right, guys, listen up. We still got a few other things we need to talk about, including Disney Plus lost 700,000 subscribers in the fourth quarter last year, but actually still made a profit. A senator in the U.S. has introduced a law to make it mandatory that movie theaters actually advertise what time the movie starts, not what time the trailers start. And that new trailer for Fantastic Four, yeah, apparently a lot of people were looking forward to watching it because it became the 8th highest viewed trailer in its first 24 hours in history, but actually behind by quite a bit of the Superman trailer. We're going to talk about those things and a few things more, but before we do, we're going to take a quick second and thank one of the sponsors of today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast, our friends at PrizePicks. Hey guys, we want to take a second and thank a sponsor of today's video, PrizePicks. All right, guys, the biggest football game of the year is almost here. And if you're like me, you're looking for a way to make it even more exciting. And that's why I use PrizePicks, the best place to get daily fantasy action. With over 10 million members, it's the easiest and most fun way to play. Here's how it works. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players' projections, and then boom, you're in. You think Patrick Mahomes will go for more than 250 passing yards? What about Travis Kelce rushing for more than 1.5 touchdowns? Pick your lineup in under 60 seconds and you could win up to 1,000 times your money. Ann and I have both been playing PrizePicks all season. Let me tell you, it has been a lot of fun. This week, I'm rolling with Saquon Barkley rushing for more than 100 yards and at least 1 touchdown. The best part, even if one of my picks isn't perfect, PrizePicks Flex Play still lets me win. Sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. So download the app today and use the code CAMPEA to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks. Run your game.
Hey, their latest album
Well,
is
we
good.
ran out of time.
Thank you. Sorry, we were talking about something. Thank you to our friends at PrizePicks for sponsoring this episode of the John Campea Show podcast.
Silver Smurfer.
Okay. Silver Smurfer. Who said that?
All right, guys, listen, we got a few more topics to discuss. But you know, before we get to the topics, I jumped in our community tab earlier and I asked our audience, hey, do you guys have any what's more likely scenarios you'd like us to address? Because we're going to play a little game of what's more likely. So, Jonathan, what we got up first?
What's more Smurfly? Okay, first up, we've got from Callum Penman. John, what's more likely? Amelia Perez wins, no Oscars, or Carla Gascon gets her nomination rescinded?
Well, I'm going to say, well, neither will happen. I think definitely Amelia Perez will probably win one, at least one of all the categories. I mean, it's hard to win, man. It's hard to win. But the Academy's not going to rescind the nomination over some controversial tweets made a few years ago. I mean, that's just simply not what they're going to do. Like, unless she comes out and does something today to really piss some people off, they're not going to rescind it. They don't have any basis, even in their own guidelines. They don't have any basis to rescind her nomination. So that nomination is happening. So I'd say it's more likely that it wins none, even though I think it will. Rob?
I think it might win one or two. I don't know. I mean, John, you know, I kind of feel bad about this because whatever you think, her performance was a good performance in a wacky movie that I didn't love. or like very much at all.
Yeah, neither did I.
And a lot of people did, though. I mean, she was voted. So I think they legitimately, you can't rescind. Well, I mean, I guess you could, I suppose. But okay, so she made some really bad tweets long ago, but she still gave a performance in a movie that was worthy, that a lot of people voted on. And I don't think it's right to rescind the nomination.
No, like remember, it's not about whether you like this person or not. It's did they do or break any of the Academy's rules which would disqualify them? Did this person do enough to justify a nomination? The actors branch of the Academy seem to think they did. God, you can't take it back. They basically have no basis in their guidelines to take it back. So unless something else happens, the more likely scenarios is that
I agree.
For Emilia Perez not winning any, even though we'll win at least one or two. All right. What's next?
Cree says, Rob, what's more likely? Superman movie will earn less than $500 million or more than $1 billion?
Ooh,
I mean, this is a good one, but the thing, it's hard to make any kind of proclamation having not seen a film.
Yeah.
You know, we've just seen the trailer. I have no idea. I have no what this movie's like. I mean, I couldn't make that determination. So I would have to say, I think it's more likely that it's... Look, I watched 3 Guardians of the Galaxy movies that James Gunn made, and each one made more money than the next. Right. Guardians 3 made the most of those 3 films, into the $800 million range. So I would have to say that the $800 million range is closer to $1 billion than it is to $500 million. So I'm going to say I think Superman is more likely to make more than $1 billion.
Jimmy Olsen is a DJ in this, if that helps.
And an influencer.
Yeah.
I'm going to go the opposite because you're absolutely right about the whole thing. And it really all depends on how good or bad the movie is.
Yeah.
So then I think of it this way. If the movie's bad, what is the likelihood of it making under 500 million?
Yeah.
And if the movie's really good, what's the likelihood of it making over $1 billion? I think the probability of it making under 500 million, if it's a bad movie, is more likely. So even though I honestly think the movie's going to come in between $500,000 and $1 billion, or $500 million and $1 billion, it's going to come somewhere in between there. But yeah, if it's really good, it can get close to $1 billion. But if it's really bad, I can totally see it making under 500 million. So I'll say it's more likely that it makes under 500 million.
I agree. Yeah.
All right.
That's such a groundswell for that. All right.
What's next?
Knight says, John, what's more likely? The new Jurassic World movie makes more money, or the Mando and Grogu makes more money?
Oh, you know what? No, this is an easy one for me. Jurassic World's going to make more money.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, we've been talking about this the last couple of weeks. The last Jurassic World movie, while not being all that good, still made over $1 billion. And I just don't think, listen, Disney Plus doesn't have enough subscribers that even if everybody who watched Mandalorian and Grogu got a ticket, I don't think Mandalorian and Grogu is going to make $1 billion. I don't think it's got any chance at it. Whereas Jurassic World does have a chance at it. So I'm not saying which is going to be the better movie, but I think Jurassic World, just look at the history of it. Jurassic World will make them more money. I know, Rob, what do you think?
100%. I mean, the whole Jurassic franchise. And you know what the Jurassic franchise has that Mando and Grogu don't?
Dinosaurs.
Dinosaurs eating people.
Yeah.
And
that we know of. I mean, maybe they could put that on.
Well, maybe there's a crate dragon or something that eats people, but.
All right, what's next?
All right. From GKR Hart, Rob, what's more likely, a Transformers 1 sequel being released or the G.I. Joe and Transformers movie being released? Ooh. The crossover.
I think a Transformers 1 sequel. I think it's probably done pretty well in the ancillary markets in addition to doing okay in theaters. I mean, people like that movie a lot.
I'm going to go completely the opposite because, Ray, can you look up how much did Transformers 1? Because Transformers 1 flopped hard. And it's a great movie.
It is a great movie.
It's a great movie. So Transformers 1, they put it out. They made a great movie. I don't think they can make a sequel much better.
$129 million.
$129 million worldwide.
Not a lot.
That's smaller than some movies' opening weekends. Whereas a Transformers G.I. Joe crossover, Paramount can at least sit back and say, we have precedent of these live action movies we've done making a hell of a lot of money. Not all of them, but we have a number of them that did. So I think Paramount would probably, and Hasbro would probably look at it as which one has the chance of making more money, a Transformers 1 sequel or a G.I. Joe Transformers crossover. I think it's more likely they do the live action G.I. Joe Transformers crossover. I don't think either will happen, by the way.
Right.
But I think that one is the one that's more likely. All right, last one.
Okay, we got Juliana Goodwin. Did I start with you, John, on the last one? So,
Yes.
Rob, what's more likely, another Spielberg musical or another Baz Luhrmann musical?
I'm going to go with Baz Luhrmann because, Spielberg's musical West Side Story did not perform the way everybody wanted it to perform. And I think, Spielberg, how many movies does he have left in him? And he's making his big tentpole, whether it's about UFOs or disclose, I don't know what it's about, but I think he's going to go more in that direction.
I think it's 1,000% Baz Luhrmann. Because, first of all, he's got a track record of musicals, not just the Elvis Presley, one of my all-time favorite movies, Moulin Rouge.
Yeah.
And here's the other part of this equation. Steven Spielberg finally stepped into the world of musicals when he did West Side Story. The movie was a triumph, and it got nominated for Best Picture. It's an incredible film, and nobody went to go see it. So I think, to Rob's point, Steven Spielberg has fewer movies still to make than movies he's already made. I don't think he's going to be anxious to get back into the musical thing. Whereas Baz Luhrmann, I could totally see him doing another one. He's had great success with it. All right, guys, and that'll wrap up our little What's More Likely. Keep your guys' eyes open on our community tab for when we drop in a question every couple of days as to doing another What's More Likely and see if we pick your What's More Likely scenario to be featured on the show. All right, with that down, guys, let's move on to this, shall we? Disney just had their investors call and stuff like that. And there's a couple of interesting things that came out of it. But one of the most notable things is that Disney Plus in the fourth quarter of 2024, from October to December, lost 700,000 subscribers. Yet they were still very profitable. That was a combination of the increased prices and the cutting back on their budgets. And they ultimately, Hulu was also profitable for them. It was actually a profitable thing, but it's got to be a little bit concerning that they lost 700,000 subscribers. As we can see here in IndieWire, Disney Plus lost 700,000 subscribers from October to December, but Moana 2 lifted all boats, and it certainly did for them with their theatrical run. It's no coincidence that this drop in subscribers just so happened to coincide with when they raised their prices again. You guys remember, I think they raised it from 15 to either from 13 to 15 or 15 to 17. They raised it again by a couple of bucks. Remember, it was not that long ago. Mandalorian, season 1, Disney Plus, no ads, was $7. That wasn't that long ago. And now we're sitting here, and again, I don't think it's a very big coincidence or a very big surprise that right around the time that they raised the prices again, you see 700,000, nearly 1 million people fall off. Now, they still have tons of subscribers, over 120-something million subscribers still. It represents a small percentage of the drop-off. But, it goes back to what we were talking about before, Rob, about AMC and A-List. Yeah, sure, they raised their prices for the first time in years. But when they raised their prices, they added more benefit. An updated app, younger people can use it now. You can have more movies reserved. You can see up to 4 more movies a month, going up to 16 from 12. So yeah, we charge you more, but we're going to give you more. I think I could probably swallow these massive Smurf loads of price increases.
There it is.
Waiting for that.
Yeah, coming down. I think I could swallow these price increases more that happen. It feels like every 4 to 5 months, they're increasing the prices. If every time they announced a price increase, they said, and with this price increase, you will now have the ability to do something that you weren't able to do before. But it's not. It's just, we're going to charge you more. Why? And
You're fired.
Sorry, I have things going on with my family. I got to keep my phone on. We're going to charge you more. To quote Chris Carr, for why? Just because. Just because. But didn't you just increase my prices? Yeah, that's the way it works. So, Rob, again, it's mixed messages we're sending something like this because they lost 700,000 subscribers, but they were more profitable. Bob Iger even said they expect 2025 will also see a decline in their overall number of subscribers. So they're actually, Disney itself is predicting they're going to lose more subscribers this year, but they're actually going to be more profitable. Not a long-term sustainable pattern, You can get away with that right now, but at some point you got to start adding subscribers again. Oh, what was your biggest takeaway from this?
The Acolyte, man. That's why people unsubscribe. No, I think you're absolutely right. The raise. Look, the streaming world is and then look, there's a lot of churn too. People, when they've seen everything they want to see, they drop out and then they come back later. I mean, that's just the reality. And the more I know, for me, I signed up for Hulu again, because I wanted to watch Paradise.
By the way, added I think 1.6 million new subscribers.
Yeah,
to
I mean,
Hulu.
again, for me, it's always a programming issue. It really is. I mean, I joke about the Acolyte. I mean, I would have quit Disney Plus if but when something comes on that you want to see, I really am enjoying Paradise 4 episodes in, and I signed up. I added Hulu to my bundle,
Right.
because I know that they've got a few other series coming down the pike I'm interested in seeing. So
Go back and watch Fargo. It's worth it.
Oh yeah, I love Fargo, and I think that that's part of it all. But I do think families, especially Disney Plus, is a family-oriented thing, and in our time of inflation, that's probably one of those things where families are looking more closely, and a couple of bucks a month can mean the world to somebody that doesn't have a whole heck of a lot of money and is trying to raise kids. And if they've seen every episode of whatever they want, but they'll come back when Moana 2 hits the platform, and there's a lot more other Disney stuff coming down the pike, and then they go resubscribe. I don't know.
By the way, thanks to your recommendation, I got caught up on Paradise.
Oh, did you watch 4?
I watched all 4 episodes. It's a good show.
It's a good show.
It's a good show. Love
it's
James Marsden. Love seeing him getting some.
He's so
some
great.
attention.
I don't think it's like genius like The Sopranos or Mad Men.
Yeah. It's
but
not my top 5
It's
best
an
show.
airport show. It's like it moves fast and it's giving you.
Yeah.
It's delicious. It's like having a great, hamburger.
But I just to highlight Hulu though, in this whole thing, IndieWire's reporting this. ESPN Plus also lost 700,000 subscribers.
Interesting.
In the period, but Hulu was the streaming highlight, adding 1.6 million subscribers and now has 53.6 million. All told, the company's streaming business was profitable for its 3rd straight quarter, so it wasn't all bad or unexpected. So, but at some point, they've got to turn the ship around, and because increasing prices and reducing costs, that's a short-term thing. And sure, so it made sure they were profitable this year. Good. But now moving forward, they're going to have to make sure they start doing things to add those subscribers again. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? Disney lost 700,000 subscribers on Disney Plus, but they actually were profitable and made money. That can't work long term, but it's a nice short term fix. What do you think about this? Whatever your thoughts are, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right. That down, guys. Let's move on to this, shall we? One of my longest standing axes to grind with the movie industry, movie theaters in particular, has been the whole notion that when a movie site tells you that a movie starts at 7 p.m., it doesn't actually start at 7 p.m. It really probably starts at 7:25 or 7:30, 7:33, because you get into the movie theater, you sit down when they told you the movie's going to start, and instead they show you a half hour of marketing. Half hour of commercials and trailers and 17 different AMC buy soda, AMC, look at this couple falling in love while sharing a Coke from our Coke machine. And of course, Nicole Kidman telling me for the 17,000th times that even heartache feels good in a place like this. Well, finally, a U.S. lawmaker, a state senator, has introduced legislation in his state to make it a mandate that movie theaters should advertise what time the show time starts, but also advertise what time the actual movie starts. From IndieWire, they wrote this: "It seems to be an abuse of people's time," Looney told the Register Citizen. "If they want to get there early to watch the promos, they can. But if they just want to see the feature film, they ought to be able to get there just in time for that." I mentioned on yesterday's show, because one of our viewers brought it up, and I just addressed it briefly. But there are a series of laws in the United States meant for consumer protection that, hey, if you can't scam people. If you're going to ask people to give you money, you need to let them know what they're getting in return for that money. There's plenty of laws that are applicable to that. I do not know why some people think that shouldn't apply to our movie-going experience. I did not pay you $15, $16, $17, $20 so I could sit down and watch a half hour of commercials. Now, granted, we're used to the internet age where if we're reading an article or watching a YouTube video for free, yeah, there's probably going to be ads. And I'm okay with that. You let me into the movie theater for free, I will sit there and watch 35 minutes of commercials. No problem. But you're selling me a ticket and you're telling the consumer that the movie's at 7, that people have made plans around their evening, they've hired babysitters, they've done whatever, and instead of giving the consumer what they paid for, you're forcing them to sit through half-hour commercials. And it used to be that you can even go, well, hey, then just show up 20 minutes late. I thought that too, until the movie theater I go to started to screw with you. And every once in a while, they'll start the movie 15 minutes late instead of 30 minutes late. And then you miss the first 10 minutes of the movie and they're like, oh, well, guess you better show up on time from now on, right? It is an abuse of consumer trust. I bought a ticket for a movie, not for trailers. And I've often heard a lot of film fans say, well, you know what? I don't mind the trailers. Good for you. Good for you. That's fine. You can go and watch the trailers now. I like the proposal of this law that says, hey, the trailers will start at 7. If you want to watch the trailers and see all the upcoming features and movies, come on in at 7. Movie itself will start at 7:32. Then everybody wins. Everybody wins. Now, they did talk to like some theater owners, and at this end of it, they say this in IndieWire. Announcing the start time of the actual movie would definitely de-incentivize our business partners' video messaging, which would have a direct negative impact on our financial stability in an already so challenging environment. Peter S. Giselnik, I'm sure I'm pronouncing that wrong, executive director at the Avon Theaters in Stamford, Connecticut, told the Citizen. Okay, so I understand the argument that says, hey, for a movie theater, this will make our ad time less valuable to sponsors and to people who want to put up ads on our screens because a lot of people will choose not to be there for the ads. And while I don't mean to sound insensitive to that, that's like saying, wait a minute, passing a law that says we can't just put, I don't know, crystal meth in this thing instead of something else, that's going to hurt our business if our customers don't. Well, yeah, but you shouldn't be doing that. Like basically what this argument is, and again, I'm not trying to sound insensitive to the theaters, but by saying, well, you know, if we don't get to trick and scam our customers into coming in early to watch those trailers or watch those commercials, well, we're going to lose money. Well, that's too bad. Find a way to make money without scamming and swindling and cheating and lying to your customers. Like this whole argument of, well, we have to be allowed to cheat and scam and swindle our customers out of their time. That's how we make some money there. We'll find other ways to make money. And listen, I'm going to tell you what, I think I personally know people that would go to more movies if they knew exactly when the movie was starting. And they knew how long they would be out. And they knew what time they were going to get home. And they knew when they were going to be able to let the babysitter go. I know people who would go to movies. I'm not saying we'll double their movie going, but I personally know people who told me they would go to movies more if this would happen. So I 100% agree with this. I have been calling for something like this for years because you want to know movie theater industry, why every year fewer and fewer people are going? I don't know. Maybe it's because you normalize cheating them. I don't know. I'm just spitballing. Maybe that's part of it. Anyway, Rob, I don't think this law has a single chance in hell of actually getting passed, but I like it. And I like that it's actually having the conversation around it. How do you see this?
I agree with you. I don't think it has a single chance in hell of passing, but I think like you made very good points. And I do agree with you. I mean, look, our lives have a finite number of seconds that we get to live while
time
we walk
is the
around
one resource we cannot replace.
Time is the fire in which we burn, I remember somebody saying once in a Star Trek movie. But this is you're already getting my 2 hours of time, and if you're going to put on a half-hour pre-show that I have to sit through before I get to the movie, I mean, if you're telling me that time, what you're doing is you are forcing me to participate in how a movie theater makes money that isn't doing what it's supposed to do, which is show movies. You know, they're showing they look. I understand movies are the margin is thin and they have to make money. I get that, but they're making money at our expense. We are not getting recompense for the amount of money they're making off of us sitting in their facilities.
They're smurfing us.
They are. We're
hard.
getting smurfed hard. And I think that there's, on the other hand, I do understand if they were showing me only movie related content, like behind the scenes footage of upcoming movies, movie trailers, things that were related to films, I might enjoy that, make that an enjoyable experience where they're cross promotion. And they could say something like, this behind the scenes look at the upcoming Wicked is brought to you by Coca-Cola. I'd be like, okay, but show me something that's movie related that gives me
sponsored featurettes,
something like that. But watching, you know, ridiculous, and sometimes the commercials are so unrelated to the movie experience. I mean, whether I'm watching ads from Big Pharma or life insurance or whatever, I'm like, why am I watching? This is harshing my mellow, man. That's not why I come to the movie theater.
By the way, I saw one of our viewers, Marcus Y, said, no, it wasn't Marcus Y, but one of our other viewers wrote, like, this isn't a real issue. Listen, let's say you're an active movie fan, not even a hyperactive movie fan, active movie fan. Go to movies, say, twice a week. That's 1 hour of trailers you've sat through. In 1 month, that's 4 hours of your time that they stole from you because you paid money not to watch commercials. Now, maybe you're somebody who has no life and nothing going on.
But I could be smurfing during that
But you
time.
could be doing I could be getting my Smurf on so hard.
Yeah.
There's so much you could do with what could you have done this month if you had 4 extra hours? Spend more time with your family and friends, work on a cool project, try to get that next level in that game you're playing.
See 2 more movies?
The point, see 2 entirely more movies.
That I paid for?
The point is they're taking time from you that they have no right to take from you because you paid to be there. And that's something that's always And listen, the industry is counting on sheep and suckers to go, well, it's not that big of a deal. They're counting on you thinking that way so they can just keep stealing. And remember, this has just been getting worse and worse over the years. Rob, it used to be there was a 10-minute window. Then it was a 15-minute window. Then it was a 20-minute window. Now at CinemaCon last year, one of the theater owners actually referred to it as the 35-minute window.
Yeah.
It's got to stop. It's got to stop.
I am curious what they say about this at CinemaCon. I hope they address it again.
And I understand, look, cinema owners are making money. They're making money. They're being paid to run these ads. The problem is that doesn't have anything to do with their audience.
Yes, you're not giving your audience something in exchange for their time to be there.
That awful Coke ad.
Yeah, and again, just running the thing again. Some people just don't listen. Somebody just said in the live chat, well, just don't go to the movie at the right time. Just go 20 minutes later.
No, but you can try that, but you can't. It's not consistent.
See, if they were consistent with that would work. But multiple times, Ann and I have showed up at a movie 20 minutes after the advertised show time, and they've effed with you. They smurfed with you because, this time we started the movie 10 minutes after we said the movie would start. You better be here for the whole thing. So they're actively trying to manipulate and cheat the audience and condition the audience that you've got to come when we say the movie starts, because you never know. We just might start the movie on time. And I've actually had a number of movies that I've missed out on some of the opening of the movie because I was trying to play the system. I was trying to play that game. Just show up 20 minutes late and we'll be fine. But it doesn't work.
It's also the whole reason you go to the movies is like the late lamented ArcLight Cinemas. We knew that they were going to show 3 trailers. That was their modus operandi. You're going to get 3 trailers that were somehow tangentially related to the movie you'd went to see.
ArcLight did that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's
Yeah.
what the ArcLight did that. And when they're doing that, that was part of the experience. I knew going in I was going to get something that was movie related, that was going to tee me up for seeing another movie or something. But watching commercials that are frequently entirely unrelated to the movie-going experience, it's not television.
Yeah.
You know, you're in a movie theater, go to have an experience, and I always felt like seeing these loud commercials was diminishing of the whole. It felt cheapening of the whole experience.
And would it make sense to put their money in like getting these ads on like YouTube instead to get you to get out of the house to go to the theater? Like the Nicole Kidman ad would work perfectly if you're watching YouTube and the ad does come up. You do get an ad. Come to AMC theaters.
I've never understood that. Like I've said the joke 100 times, but showing an AMC ad to me, while I'm sitting in AMC, is like begging a girl to look at your Tinder profile when you're in the middle of having sex with her. It makes no sense. Buy ad time, buy advertising spots on YouTube, on ABC, on Hulu. Like that, put your money there. You're going to get better results than advertising to people who are already in your theater. But anyway, I could go on with this for another hour if I wanted to. Anyway, guys, the question is for you. What do you think about this? Finally, some lawmaker is trying to pass a common sense law. I mean, it has no chance in the world of passing, but maybe it'll get a conversation started, and maybe sometime something like this can happen. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comments section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? Well, of course, the other day, Fantastic Four dropped their first trailer. I liked it. It didn't blow my socks off or anything, but I thought it was pretty okay. The launch event was horrible. Oh my God, that was a missed opportunity. They should never, ever, or at least get somebody much better to plan that out, because that was dreadful. That whole launch event, totally stupid. But I kind of like the trailer, whatever. Well, it looks like a lot of people were waiting to see this Fantastic Four trailer, because it beat out almost every other Marvel film ever, save just a couple. As it's being reported here in the Hollywood Reporter, that the Fantastic Four First Step trailer flies to a phenomenal 200 million plus views in the first day, which actually makes it the 8th biggest trailer launch in cinematic history. If we go over and look, obviously Deadpool and Wolverine is the biggest trailer launch in history, 365 million views in the first 24 hours. Spider-Man No Way Home, 355, Avengers Endgame, 289. Then you go down here. So an eighth spot right now is it. Well, Fantastic Four now bumps out it. Fantastic Four now holds that number 8 spot, biggest of all time, which is interesting in and of itself. We'll talk about that in a minute. What I think is also interesting, though, is a bunch of people are asking, how do you think the trailer launch will compare to the Superman trailer launch? Well, the Superman trailer launch beat it by about 50 million views. Superman trailer's launch ranks as the number 5 biggest trailer launch of all time, seeing it with 250 million views. So, keep in mind, though, that doesn't in no way take away from the astonishing success of how many views this Fantastic Four trailer. I mean, think about it. This Fantastic Four trailer had more views than one of the Infinity War trailers, more views than one of the Lion King trailers, Fate of the Furious, Thor Ragnarok, Spider-Man Far From Home. Like, it beat out every other film in history except 7 others. It's an crazy accomplishment that they had there. So, Rob, I got 2 questions for you. Number 1, why did this Fantastic Four, a film franchise that has had failure after failure after failure, why did this elicit so many people to go and check it out? And then the second question is, why did the Superman one get more? What do you think? Well,
look, Superman's the king of superheroes. I mean, as a single superhero entity, Superman is the prime mover. He's God's Superman. He is the character that everybody, generation after generation after generation after generation, knows. So I think anyone is interested in Superman. And there's been so much talk, even in circles outside of the movie sphere, the idea that there are business people, I think, that were interested in Superman because it's a whole new studio. There's people that are investing. It probably was watched by a lot of people on Wall Street, or in the tech sector to see because it's going to drive so much moving forward. I think that Fantastic Four, to all the people, you look at the MCU still has massive fans. Look at that list. Spider-Man No Way Home, Avengers Infinity War, Avengers Endgame. We all still love the MCU. Everybody, I mean, the MCU still has all of us hoping. And after coming off of Deadpool and Wolverine, it was a resounding success for the MCU. And I think, and this is the first time that they've come out and said, okay, this Fantastic Four movie is no longer going to be following a superhero trend. Like, they didn't make Fantastic Four at Fox until Spider-Man had been made at Sony, the X-Men had been made, Daredevil had been made, and then they're like, oh, let's go do a Fantastic Four movie. It was always kind of an also-ran, it was an afterthought. I think now Marvel fans know, MCU fans know, that this is the same way that Superman represents the hope for the new DC universe moving forward. Fantastic Four is going to be a foundational restart, jumpstart, whatever you want to call it, to the MCU. I mean, even the new Captain America movie is dealing with stuff that came from before, Tiamat and all Phase 4 stuff. But the Fantastic Four represents something new. It's almost in a way sort of a soft reboot of the MCU. So I think a lot of people tuned in. A lot of people wanted to see, well, I haven't liked the MCU. I didn't like the Eternals. I didn't like whatever, Shang-Chi. But I'm interested in Fantastic Four, so it brought people back. That's what I think.
A lot of casting too. I mean, they've always been in the news for the casting of the Fantastic Four, all that kind of stuff. I'm sure even though I don't think he's going to be in the movie, the announcement of Robert Downey Jr. as Doctor Doom at Comic-Con.
Yeah.
I think that has spurred. There's still a lot of people that think Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom is going to be the villain of the movie. And guys, he's not. He might appear in a post-credit scene or something, but he's not. I just hope people understand that.
And curiosity,
And so again, I'm thrilled for them. I'm thrilled that they had that success. I kind of wish the trailer was a little bit better for launching like that. Again, there were things about it I really liked. There were. But I mean,
I think they showed us the bare minimum.
yeah.
There's probably a lot of stuff that they didn't want.
By the way, did you see that report that said that one shot of I've almost said Pablo Hidalgo, of Pedro Pascal? They said they actually altered it because in that shot in the movie, he's using his stretch powers and they didn't want to show his stretch powers yet.
Yeah.
So that's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Look, Superman is Superman. Fantastic Four is Fantastic Four. We want them both to be great and all that kind of stuff. But it wouldn't be a movie discussion show if we didn't talk about who put out the better trailer. Because both of these movies, I think they're coming out in the same month, right?
Yeah, within weeks of each other.
I don't even think, like, again, I appreciated the Fantastic Four trailer. I love Eben Moss-Bachrach in that, basically being his bear character in the kitchen and cooking. I'm gonna add some garlic, kick it up a couple notches. I really, really like that. But Superman was the better trailer.
Oh yeah.
Like if I had to sit down and just watch two trailers and then say, based on these trailers, you got to pick one movie you're going to see. I mean, for me, it would be Superman.
It had more compelling superheroic imagery in it.
I agree. Yeah.
You see Superman saving somebody, you see Guy Gardner, you see other stuff going on.
But also the time environment though in the Fantastic Four was very interesting to look at. I want to see more of that whatever
the
time.
era of that dimension.
Yeah, 100%.
That 60s era. Yeah, actually, that's another thing. I really did like the stylization of it. I thought it was really good. By the way, I was still somebody I know. I'm not going to say who and throw them under the bus, but somebody I know who is completely into comic book movies and all that kind of stuff actually wrote on social media and said, I don't get it. This takes place in the 60s. How come no one's ever mentioned the Fantastic Four before? How has no one ever mentioned that this Galactus guy once showed up in the world?
Multiverse.
Yes, guys, it's not our Earth. It's not our 1960s. It's not our Earth. This Fantastic Four movie starts on another Earth, a different dimension. And then I'm guessing, I used to feel confident about this. By the end of this movie, they'll be in the Earth 616. Do you still feel that way?
I do. Or they're heading to the Earth 616.
Right.
But I think they're going to probably get there, or unless it's teeing up to arrive there for Avengers Doomsday.
Right.
So we will find out. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? Fantastic Four's trailer killed it. 8th highest viewed trailer in the first 24 hours in movie history, only being beaten out by movies such as Avengers Infinity War, Superman, Endgame, Spider-Man No Way Home, and Deadpool and Wolverine. I mean, that's pretty good. But there's another superhero movie opening in the same month as it that maybe had a little bit better results for it. I don't know. What do you take away from all that? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that all down, it's time for us to move on to the most important part of our show, which is, of course, your comments and questions. But before we do, we're going to take another quick moment and thank one of the sponsors of today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast, our friends at Hungryroot. Guys, we want to take a second and thank a sponsor of today's video, Hungryroot. You know, grocery shopping used to be one of the biggest struggles. Between your busy schedule and wanting to eat healthier, it just feels impossible to stay on top of everything. But all that changes when you discover Hungryroot, the easiest way to eat healthy without the hassles. Hungryroot is like having your own personal grocery shopper. They take care of the weekly shopping for you, recommending healthy, high-quality groceries tailored to your tastes, nutritional preferences, and even health goals. They've got it all: smoothies, snacks for the kids, ready-to-eat meals, and even supplements. For me, Hungryroot is absolutely a game changer, guys. My health goals have become so much easier to stick to. I love how they personalize my cart every week and even get smart about my preferences as I go. It's honestly stress-free and so simple. You're going to love Hungryroot as much as I do. Take advantage of this exclusive offer. For a limited time, get 40% off your first box, plus get a free item in every box for life. Go to hungryroot.com/Campea and use the code Campea. That's hungryroot.com/Campea using the code Campea to get 40% off your first box and a free item of your choice for life. hungryroot.com/Campea, code Campea. And thank you to our friends at Hungryroot for sponsoring today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast. All right, guys, with that all down, let's get on to your comments and questions here, shall we? Jonathan, what we got up first?
Okay, this is a carryover from yesterday. Forbidden says, sorry for my ADHD humor, John. I was just trying to loosen things up a bit when I said Amelia Perez sucked, but still don't like that movie. But anyway, how would you rank Superman, Fantastic Four, and Jurassic on your most anticipated list?
In that order.
Yeah.
Superman number one, because it's my most anticipated movie of the year. Fantastic Four, and then Jurassic. So that's how and all with a good amount of buffer between it. Like, I am considerably more excited to see Superman than I am for Fantastic Four, though I am excited to see Fantastic Four. And I'm considerably more excited to see Fantastic Four than I am for Jurassic World, even though I am looking forward to seeing it. But it's easily Superman, Fantastic Four, Jurassic. All right, what's next?
Baton says, I found out the only collab between Martin Scorsese and Timothée Chalamet they did was a Chanel ad.
Wow.
They should do a movie together, maybe Devil in the White City, as Timothy is closer in age to H.H. Holmes when the movie happens than Leo. But Leo, I believe,
But that's already a
cast.
lock. Yeah, that's already a lock. It would be interesting to see Timothée Chalamet, who I believe is going to become this generation's
Daniel Day-Lewis.
Daniel Day-Lewis, the GOAT, best there is, best there was, best ever will be. I think he's the only actor today who has the potential to get to that level. He just keeps getting better and better every year. So to see him work with one of the great all-time filmmakers would be really fun. I'd also like to see Timothée Chalamet with Chris Nolan.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be fun too. All right, what's next?
We got Forbidden, who says, my theory is Marvel planned to have majors all along, but as the Beyonder and cut out all the variants.
No, I don't think that was ever their plan. I don't think that was it. And again, you know, we talked about this yesterday, that there's some rumors floating around that they might bring him back. There's no point in bringing him back. They've already moved on from it. They killed off the character. They said the TVA was now picking off all the remaining variants. There's no need to go back to that. It would just feel forced into it for no reason whatsoever. So yeah, and I don't think that was ever their plan, to be honest. I mean, you might be right. I don't know for a fact. I'm just saying I doubt it. All right, what's next?
Popcorn and Coke says, are you guys watching Paradise? I'm only 2 episodes in, but it's been great so far. Lots of good mystery and twists. Just finished Jackal, now watching this and Severance. TV is good right now.
Yeah.
I'm 2 episodes into Paradise.
I watched all 4 episodes that are out on Paradise yesterday. I really quite liked it.
It's not Silo, but it's good.
It's not Silo, it's not Severance, but it's a really solid show.
Yeah.
And I'm enjoying it, and the mystery keeps getting more, intriguing as we go. Severance, of course, is also great. But yeah, I'm really impressed with it so far.
Mm-hmm.
All right, what's next?
Gavin says, not sure if y'all saw, but the new dinosaur in Rebirth has 4 arms. The 2 it walks on, and then 2 tiny T-Rex looking arms. You can make out it best when it's about to eat the scientists. Appreciate you guys, and my deepest condolences for your mom, John.
Oh, thank you, Gavin. I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, we talked yesterday on the show about why it makes sense that they would be messing with the DNA and trying to create new breeds, if you will, of dinosaurs. Like right from the very first Jurassic Park movie, they talked about mixing and splicing the DNA.
Mm-hmm.
So it would only make sense as it progresses, we find out what some of the results of those experimentations were. So it's going to be interesting to see. All right, what's next?
Anonymous theory. People keep joking about how Reed Richards better watch out because Namor is coming to take Sue Storm from him. But am I the only one who can't really see the MCU Namor behaving the way his comic counterpart does when it comes to Sue? They're completely different eras and different takes on Namor.
Different eras, different things. And, it's funny because I got into a conversation with somebody again today. We were discussing a certain point. I won't bring up what the point was. And they said, well, John, that never happens in the comics. And it's like, yet another person who doesn't understand that the comics are the comics and the movies are the movies. There's a lot of things that the MCU has done that has never been done in the comics. There's a lot of things in the comics that the MCU has never done. They are two separate things. They absolutely influence each other. They can be borrowed from each other. But yeah, the MCU Namor or Namor. Yeah, I don't think we're going to see a lot of crossover with Fantastic Four.
Namor.
All right, what's next?
Anonymous Theory says, having a double feature today of Love Hurts. Oh, I forgot I'm seeing Love Hurts later today.
I am seeing it at 2:00 this afternoon,
Oh, cool.
actually. Yeah.
Love Hurts and Companion. Side note, was anyone else shocked to see that Love Hurts is only an hour and 23 minutes? It doesn't concern me. I just can't remember the last time I saw a theatrical film under 90. Sometimes it's nice.
Yeah, I saw that, and I'm like, it's like 82 minutes.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's
tight
it's
strips.
short and sweet. And again, that doesn't bother me at all. Every movie has a unique runtime that is its optimal runtime. So sure, they could have made this movie 110 minutes, but what if that's way too long for that movie and it's not as good as because of it? So again, I'm not hearing great things about Love Hurts. I'm hearing okay things. All I know is I love Ki-Hu Kwan, and having Marshawn Lynch in there is pretty good. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. I'll do an out of theater reaction for that later today. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see it. All right, what's next?
Sam Fisher says, while 8th most viewed is lower than 5th, it's nothing to sneeze at. Give me and hopefully Marvel a big boost of confidence this movie will be successful, or at least have a good opening weekend, at least barring the quality of Cat 4 and Thunderbolts.
Well, by the way, we just heard, I won't go into details. We have heard in this office today from somebody who had seen Cap 4. Says it's actually pretty good. So yeah, there's that. I mean, yeah, look, I think Fantastic Four having the 8th biggest opening of all time, because I look at this list, right? Look at the movies that are ahead of it. Lion King, Infinity War, Superman, Endgame, Avengers Endgame, Spider-Man No Way Home, Deadpool, and Wolverine. Every one of those movies above it have made $1 billion at the box office or more. Every one of them. Other than Superman, because it hasn't come out yet.
It's
And
surrounded
every
by it.
one of them, I believe, opened over $100 million. So I think it might be safe to say that Fantastic Four will have a big opening. The question, and the important question, becomes, how will it do after its opening?
Yeah.
Once word of mouth gets out about how disappointing it is, or how great it is, or, that's the real where the rubber meets the road. But I am anticipating it's probably going to have a pretty big opening weekend. All right, what's next?
We got Slaughter says, realize something interesting. The tentpole movies releasing in July, Superman, Fantastic Four, and Jurassic World, all failed critically and were mixed with audience in their last theatrical outing. All these movies are banking on new audience perception.
Yeah, actually,
something
that's
to
even
prove.
true of Jurassic, because it's a whole new cast now.
Right, yeah.
That's actually a really good observation. These are all franchises that are kind of in rehabilitation mode. None more so than Superman, because it wasn't just a Superman film that didn't go. By the way, Man of Steel is still one of the greatest comic book movies of all time. I don't care. I'll argue anybody about that. But it didn't go over great with a lot of the audience and all that kind of stuff. But Superman is not only trying to rehabilitate a single IP, Superman, it's trying to rehabilitate an entire cinematic universe, because the whole DCEU failed. So there's that. But you're right. Jurassic is in kind of relaunch mode. Fantastic Four is definitely in relaunch mode, and Superman is definitely in relaunch mode. All right, what's next?
Anonymous says, I hope during CinemaCon Lionsgate panel we hear Michael updates. We should, since that's their biggest movie, I would assume.
I'm guessing. I mean, listen, last year was way in advance at CinemaCon for Michael.
Right.
They had only been shooting the movie for like 2 weeks, and they showed us a sizzle reel for it. So yeah, they're very anxious to show this. I mean, look, obviously we've talked about the drama going on with the Michael movie, what state they're in right now, how prepared are they going to be, but it doesn't matter. Even if they don't know an exact release date yet for this thing, because it sounds like they're going to have to move it, I still think they're going to do a significant presentation for it at CinemaCon. All right, what's next?
Idea guy, rather than dumping on YouTube, maybe a streamer like Disney Plus brings a cheap pay-per movie option for old not profitable movies, a streaming Disney Vault for some movies at 99 cents. Give me Watcher in the Woods and Something Wicked This Way Comes.
Something Wicked This Way Comes. Here's the problem with that. then it's still a Disney streaming service, and they will still have to pay all the licensing and all the residuals and all this whole move about, and again, I'm not clear on the legalities of taking it off their own service and dropping it on a free platform like YouTube. I don't know if that simplifies that process or not, but yeah, the whole idea of just moving it to a cheaper streaming service, that still has all the drawbacks for the company then, because they still have to pay licensing, they still have to pay the residuals, they still have to pay just for having it sitting there, they have to pay money out. And even if it's not making any money on YouTube, it might be different. So I don't know. We'll have to see what the whole strategy here is. All right, what's next?
Mitchell says, what are the chances that there's another early 26 film before Doomsday, and 2, a movie from any Marvel franchise in between Doomsday and Secret Wars that takes place in the aftermath of Doomsday?
They did it before with Infinity War and Endgame. I mean, listen, you know me, I'm terrible with release dates. For all I know, there's already something scheduled to come out in between Doomsday.
I know, I'd have to look
and
at
Secret
that.
Wars. I just don't keep track of dates, so forgive me. But it would totally be within character because they've done it before. So I wouldn't doubt it, even if it was something that they hadn't announced yet. All right, what do we got up there next?
We got Brian Garcia. Hi all. I don't quite relate to the frustration with ad times in LA. My time gets stolen by traffic and looking for parking more than ads. I've shown up an hour before showtime and I've been saved by ads because it took me more than an hour to find parking.
Oh, wow.
But that's just compounding one problem with another.
Right.
Right? That's just saying, well, this other problem fixes this, but doesn't fix that problem. Right? The answer to the problem is not to add another problem.
Or to run late to everything because...
Yeah. Now, listen, I used to be like that. Especially in the first few years that I was in LA. Adjusting to traffic in LA is a whole thing. That's a whole thing. But after I was here for a year or two, I understood the traffic in LA. And I knew when I had to leave at certain times. And I knew when we were most likely to get delays. And all that kind of stuff. And listen, I have no problem. Again, I have zero problem with a half hour of trailers and ads before a movie. As long as you tell us that. Tell us, hey, showtime starts at 7, movie starts at 7:29 or 7:32 or whatever. I have no problem with that. So you can aim to be there at 7 if you want. Watch the trailers if that's what you like to do. But if you don't, and you've been in LA for a while and you know traffic patterns and you know how long it's going to take you to get from A to B, then plan to be there 10 minutes early or something like that. Catch the last few trailers and then watch the movie. All right. What's next?
All right. Mitchell, this is our last of the tips. Another concern of mine is the timeline of introducing Doom. Post-credit scene and then headlining an Avengers film immediately, which is also why I'm wondering if there will be another film right before Doomsday that will have him minorly featured.
I got to say, Mitchell, I don't understand this myth amongst film fans that before you have the character, you have to introduce the character in something else first.
Yeah,
Guess what? When Star Wars came out, Darth Vader.
Yeah.
They didn't need a Darth Vader. George Lucas didn't need to write some little story first to put out in theaters where you get introduced to Darth Vader.
Yeah.
Nah, man. They just introduced Darth Vader.
We were led up to Thanos, but we weren't led up to Ultron.
We weren't
Ultron.
Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight.
Right.
Yeah.
We had Batman Begins, and yes, he had the playing card at the end.
Which
but
was
we did not have Joker at all in Batman Begins, and then just boom, Heath Ledger's Joker in Dark Knight, and celebrated as one of, if not the greatest comic book villain ever by a lot of people. You do not need, if you are a skilled filmmaker, guess what? With Die Hard, they didn't need a Hans Gruber prequel thing for Hans. No, here's Die Hard, villain shows up, villain dies, celebrated as one of the greatest cinematic villains of all time. Right? You do not need this, I don't know why, particularly we comic book movie fans have this like absolutely erroneous myth that, well, in order to really have, you can't just have him pop up in Doomsday. Yes, you can. That's how all movies do it. They have a movie, you introduce a character, you make the character awesome, and away you go. So yeah, listen, I do think there's a chance that Doctor Doom pops up in a post-credit scene in Fantastic Four. I also think there's a chance that Dr. Doom, Robert Downey Jr., pops up quickly in something before Doomsday. There's a chance. But what I would say is I do not believe they need it at all. Like, not even remotely do they need it. So anyway, that's just my way of looking at it. All right, what's next?
Okay, we're going to hear from our members here. Kaz Meyer says, I'm from Australia, currently traveling through Latvia, and about to see the Latvian film Flow, which has been nominated for an Academy
Best
Award.
animated pictures. It's actually a lot of people picking it to win.
Nice.
And in the categories of Best International Feature Film, Best Animated Feature Film, super excited.
It's a good film. I don't think it's in the same neighborhood as Bad Robot. I keep saying Bad Robot.
Yeah.
Wild Robot.
Yeah.
I don't think it's in the same category, to be honest with you. But it's a very, very good movie. All right, what's next?
Brandon Salad says, hey, crew, very nice to see the new updates for AMC A-list members. Even with the price hike, if they didn't add another free movie per week, it's still worth it. A-list is just ridiculously good.
You know what? You've got a point. Even if they didn't add an extra reservation slot on your account, an extra movie per week, 4 extra movies per month, the ability to now Face ID in the app so you don't have to pull out your ID every time. Even if they didn't add any of that, they haven't raised the prices on A-list in forever. And even at the new price, it's still cheaper than buying 2 movie tickets.
Mm-hmm.
So if all you see is 1 movie a month, not worth it to get A-list.
Right.
I'll say that. It's not worth it to get A-list if all you see is 1 movie a month. But if you see even 2 movies a month, you're even with the price increase, you are already saving money with A-list. So yeah, I think you're right. Even if they didn't add in all that extra stuff that we get now, I think I still would have been okay with it because it's still cheaper than 2 movie tickets.
Yeah, and immediately what I thought of as, it's a sports reference, but it opens up a roster spot, you know?
Yeah. Yep.
Like you were
100%.
saying, because like I'll have something like Cap 4 or Thunderbolts that's going to be reserved way in advance to get my for opening weekend ticket, and then I'm limited on what I can do.
Yeah.
Now I still have my 3 movies a week, and I can lock something down in the future.
Yep. That was a huge thing for Ann and I have run into that so many times where let's go see this movie tonight, kind of on a whim. Oh no, we already have all of our 3 reservation spots locked up, and we'd have to cancel our tickets or something. Now we don't have to do that. I really like that.
So now we got Alan who says, happy Thursday, Campea Crew. I like Fantastic Four trailer. I'm really hoping this will be the Fantastic Four we've been hoping and waiting for.
Yeah, man, because if this movie sucks, and I'm not saying it will, I mean, they got a great director on board. I love the cast. I think it's going to be good. But if it sucks, then this IP is just cursed, right? Because then it'll be 0 for 4.
Right.
It's got to work this time, and certainly because to Rob's point too, I think they have plans for the future of the MCU with Fantastic Four, so they really need this thing to work. And I think it will be good.
All right.
What's next?
Got a couple more here. Calvin, Deadline has reported that the estate of Canadian-born Superman co-creator Joe Shuster is seeking to block the release of the upcoming Superman film in Canada, the UK, Ireland, and Australia under British copyright law. Does anyone have any idea if this could actually happen?
It won't happen. This comes up all the time. I ever since my AMC days, there's always been stories about somebody's trying to block the release of this movie, and it never happens, and it won't here. So no.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
Final one here is Amin. It's a percentage chance that we see a baby Franklin Richards in Fantastic Four. I think part of the reason Galactus is coming or could be coming to that Earth is because of him. And in addition to the space race, first steps could be referring to a baby.
You know what? I honestly don't think so. I mean, it's possible. It's absolutely possible. But we're just introducing the Fantastic. Do you know how long the Fantastic Four were around in the comics before Franklin Richards was born? Right. So I don't think they need to blow their proverbial load and get like, okay, we're this and Galactus and Franklin Richards. So no, I don't think so. Again, it's possible, but why would you do all that just in one movie like that? Leave that for a little bit down the line. And guys, that'll do it for today's installment of the John Campea Show podcast. Thank you so much for being here and making our little show part of your day. Big special thank you to all you guys who sent in the questions. Number 1, because you gave us great fun things to talk about. But number 2, you supported our channel as you did it, and all of us involved with the show. Thank you guys so very much for your support. Don't forget to come on back and join me again tomorrow, guys. In the meantime, I want to thank the guys in the room with me. Of course, Robert Meyer Burnett, who's not here right now. Ray Ora.
See you guys tomorrow.
Jonathan Voico.
It's all about that Smurf.
My name's John Campea. Until next time, my friends, I was going to say Smurf, but I won't. Bye-bye.